Balancing a full-time 9 to 5 job while trying to build a trading career is one of the biggest challenges a new trader faces. Early in my journey, I assumed that staying late at the office or working overtime would give me more financial security, and trading could fit in whenever I had a free moment. What I quickly realized was that trading is not something you can squeeze into gaps without structure. When I tried to trade immediately after a long, mentally draining workday, my decisions suffered. I would miss key setups, react impulsively to small market movements, and often take trades outside of my strategy just to feel productive. Recognizing the impact of work fatigue on my trading outcomes was the first step in building a routine that actually works. The starting point is assessing your available time and understanding your energy levels. Not all hours are equal when it comes to trading. For instance, the 2 hours after a late afternoon meeting might seem like a convenient window, but if your mind is fatigued from decisions, emails, and client interactions, that period becomes high risk for impulsive trades. I began mapping my daily energy patterns alongside my job schedule, identifying when I was sharpest and most capable of analytical thinking. For many students, this is a critical exercise. Without understanding personal energy rhythms, even the most rigid routine will fail. Once the windows of opportunity are identified, it's important to map them against market conditions. For me, pre-market hours were ideal. Waking up early to review charts, monitor overnight price action, and prepare watch lists allowed me to operate when my cognitive load was low and before my day job consumed my mental energy. I could identify setups calmly, review potential risks, and plan entries and exits with focus. Lunch breaks offered brief monitoring opportunities but required discipline to avoid impulsive trades. While post-work sessions were only sustainable if my workload was light and I had intentional energy management strategies in place, such as short meditation or movement breaks. I also evaluated inefficient routines that had previously sabotaged my trading. In the past, I would attempt to catch up on trades throughout the day, checking charts on my phone between meetings or during breaks, often without a clear plan. These fragmented attempts led to emotional trading and poor risk management. By documenting the results of this behavior, I saw a clear pattern. Fragmented, rushed trading rarely produced consistent results. Students need to realize that trading demands dedicated focus, and that attempting it sporadically while managing a demanding job will consistently erode profitability and confidence. To build a routine that works, it's not enough to simply identify when you can trade. Prioritizing quality over quantity is essential. I learned to focus on high-probability setups that matched my strategy rather than forcing trades to fill the time available. Early in my journey, the temptation to do something during any free moment often resulted in losses that exceeded the gains from carefully planned trades. Teaching students to prioritize setups over the number of trades fosters a mindset of discipline and long-term performance. Pre-market preparation became a cornerstone of my routine. Each morning, I reviewed economic calendars, scanned key market news, and updated my watch list with trades that met my strict criteria. Alerts were configured specifically for setups I had pre-approved, reducing the risk of chasing random price movements. This preparation wasn't just about gaining market knowledge. It was about entering the trading day with a clear plan, aligned with my energy and mental focus. For students, emphasizing preparation over reaction is a lesson that directly impacts consistency and risk management. Post-market reflection is equally important. I dedicated time at the end of each trading session to journal every trade, noting not only entries and exits, but also the mental and emotional state I experienced. Over time, these reflections revealed patterns, such as fatigue after long workdays leading to impulsive trades, or certain setups that I consistently executed poorly under time constraints. Students should treat journaling as a critical analytical tool, not just a record-keeping exercise. It allows for the identification of bottlenecks, distractions, and personal biases that interfere with consistent execution. Practical integration of trading around job responsibilities requires proactive planning. I learned to communicate boundaries when necessary, such as dedicating specific hours exclusively to trading and informing colleagues and family members when I would be unavailable. This practice reduced interruptions and created a mental signal that trading time was important, non-negotiable, and treated professionally. Students often underestimate the value of this step. Without clear boundaries, trading becomes reactive and inconsistent. Energy management is just as important as time management. I monitored my mental and physical state to avoid attempting trades when fatigue was high. Techniques like short exercise routines, hydration, and brief mindfulness practices became integrated into the pre-trade process, allowing me to enter sessions with clarity. Students should understand that trading performance is intimately tied to overall mental and physical condition, and that no strategy can compensate for exhaustion or scattered focus. By combining assessment of available windows, energy awareness, structured preparation, prioritization of setups, and post-market reflection, I was able to construct a routine that consistently worked within the constraints of a full-time job. Over weeks and months, patterns emerged that reinforced when and how I could trade effectively. The process of trial, observation, and adjustment was essential, as no pre-packaged routine works perfectly without considering individual energy cycles, job demands, and market conditions. This approach not only improved my trading results but also reduced stress and built confidence. I stopped chasing setups impulsively, avoided overtrading, and developed a clear plan for every session. The key lesson for students is that a well-designed routine is not about maximizing screen time or the number of trades. It is about aligning available time with optimal energy, strategic focus, and disciplined execution. Once I understood where my available trading windows were and how my energy ebbed and flowed throughout a typical workday, the next step was to structure my trading routine in a way that respected both my professional responsibilities and my need for focused, deliberate trading. Without a deliberate structure, trading after a long day at the office becomes a recipe for mistakes, overtrading, and frustration. The goal was not to simply add trading on top of a 9-to-5 schedule, but to create a framework that allowed high-quality trades during the moments when I could truly perform at my best. The first principle I applied was prioritizing setups over quantity. Early in my trading journey, I would force myself to trade every opportunity I could find after work, convinced that more trades meant more profits. What I failed to recognize was that trading while mentally fatigued made each of those trades lower quality, more impulsive, and far riskier than if I had waited for a truly high-probability setup. I began to shift my focus to only taking trades that fit my strategy perfectly and ignoring setups that felt marginal or required forcing my attention. This mindset drastically reduced my number of trades per session, but paradoxically, it increased both my consistency and profitability. Students need to understand that trading is not a volume game, it is a quality game, and structuring your routine around your best setups ensures that you're consistently placing trades with the highest expected value. Next came pre-market preparation, a stage I treat as sacred. Before the market opens, I dedicate a focused block of time to analyze charts, prepare my watch lists, and set alerts for potential trades. This preparation is especially important for traders balancing a 9-to-5 job, because you cannot rely on the same energy or attention levels after a full workday. During this window, I review overnight price action, note key levels of support and resistance, and decide which instruments to focus on. I also check economic calendars for news that might create volatility and set my trading alerts so I can react efficiently without constantly staring at screens. For students, this step cannot be overstated. A well-prepared pre-market routine acts as a force multiplier, allowing you to make faster, more confident decisions when the market opens. While pre-market preparation is crucial, post-market reflection is equally important. After trading sessions, I dedicate time to review my trades, noting both what went right and where I deviated from my plan. I use a trading journal to track patterns, emotional states, and decision-making processes. For example, I might record that after a particularly stressful day at work, I tended to be impatient and took trades too early or too late, missing optimal entries. Over time, this journaling allowed me to see correlations between my daytime workload, mental state, and trade outcomes. Students learning this method can see how reflection transforms trading from a reactive activity into a deliberate practice, where mistakes become data points for improvement rather than losses that compound frustration. Integrating trading around a 9 to 5 job also requires practical scheduling tactics. I experimented with several approaches to find a rhythm that worked with my energy levels. Some days, early mornings before work provided the quiet and mental clarity I needed for analysis and precise entries. Lunch breaks became opportunities for quick market checks, watching alerts and identifying potential trades without engaging in impulsive decisions. Evenings after work, instead of jumping straight into active trading, I might spend a focused block reviewing charts, updating my journal, and planning setups for the next day. The key lesson here is understanding that trading does not have to be continuous to be effective, it has to be intentional, and your routine must match your available mental bandwidth. Students often underestimate the power of pacing themselves. Attempting to trade every possible moment is a fast track to burnout and emotional errors. Another critical element of structuring a routine is risk management embedded into your schedule. I established rules for maximum trades per session and maximum capital at risk per trade, and I stick to these limits rigorously. By defining these parameters in advance, I prevent myself from chasing losses or forcing trades out of boredom or fatigue. For example, if I identify only 3 high-probability setups in a given evening session, I commit to taking only those trades, regardless of how tempting other opportunities appear. Teaching students to set boundaries like this is essential for maintaining discipline and protecting both capital and psychological well-being. I also implemented small pre-trade rituals to optimize focus. These included simple physical and mental cues, reviewing the watch list, confirming stop-loss levels, and performing a brief breathing exercise to reset attention before executing trades. These rituals became part of the structure of my routine, signaling to my brain that it was time to trade intentionally rather than reactively. Over time, this disciplined approach reduced emotional interference and allowed me to approach each session with a consistent mindset, regardless of how my day job had taxed me. For students trying to follow this approach, it is important to recognize that flexibility within structure is necessary. Life does not always follow a strict plan, and unexpected work tasks, family responsibilities, or market conditions may require adjusting your routine. The framework is designed to be robust yet adaptable. Know your high-quality setups, prepare in advance, reflect afterward, and maintain clear risk rules, while allowing minor adjustments to accommodate the realities of a 9 to 5 schedule. This combination of discipline and adaptability is what separates reactive, inconsistent traders from those who build long-term skill and profitability while maintaining other life responsibilities. Ultimately, structuring a trading routine is about creating an environment where your best decisions can occur. By carefully aligning your trading windows with periods of high mental clarity, focusing on high-quality setups, preparing thoroughly, reflecting consistently, and managing risk, you can trade effectively even with a demanding day job. The insights gained from monitoring your performance and patterns will naturally flow into strategies for maximizing efficiency and minimizing distractions during active trading, creating a seamless path toward consistent, intentional, and profitable trading. The next critical step is maximizing efficiency and minimizing distractions to ensure the limited trading windows are used effectively. Students often underestimate how much wasted time or unnecessary complexity can erode performance, even when they have a solid schedule in place. In my own experience, early attempts to integrate trading with full-time work were undermined by inefficiency. Toggling between multiple platforms, chasing alerts that were not aligned with my strategy, and struggling to maintain focus amid personal and professional distractions. The first step in maximizing efficiency is streamlining tools and workflows. Instead of using several charting platforms simultaneously, I consolidated to one platform that allowed me to monitor the markets I traded, set alerts, and execute trades quickly. Students need to recognize that every extra click, tab, or app divides attention, creating cognitive friction that reduces decision quality. Efficiency isn't just convenience, it directly impacts risk management, as hesitation or errors in execution can lead to larger than expected losses. Next is eliminating non-essential strategies and alerts. Early in my trading, I would track dozens of strategies and react to every alert, which created a constant sense of urgency and emotional volatility. By critically evaluating which strategies were consistently profitable and aligned with my style, I pared down to a smaller set of high-probability setups. Alerts were reduced to signals that actually required action, and everything else became background noise. This simplification allowed me to focus on precision rather than quantity, which in turn improved my performance metrics and mental clarity. For students, this is a pivotal lesson. Complexity does not equal profitability, and discipline often requires saying no to unnecessary signals. Managing personal and work-life distractions while trading is equally essential. Trading at night after a full day of work is particularly vulnerable to interruptions from family responsibilities to household chores or digital distractions like social media. I implemented specific boundaries, designating a quiet environment and clearly defined trading time. Notifications on devices not related to trading were disabled, and family members were informed of periods where focus was critical. Students should understand that minimizing interruptions isn't just about comfort, it's about preserving the mental bandwidth necessary to adhere to a strategy under real-time conditions. Time-blocking strategies are another powerful tool. I divided my trading day into discrete blocks, each with a clear objective. Pre-market analysis, live execution, and post-market journaling all had their own dedicated periods. This approach reduced context switching, which is cognitively expensive and often leads to mistakes. For example, attempting to analyze charts while also responding to work emails or checking news feeds reduces situational awareness, a critical component for executing high-probability trades. Students learning to trade around a full-time job should experiment with fixed time blocks that align with both market conditions and personal energy levels. Efficiency also extends to pre-trade preparation. I developed checklists for each trading session, reviewing the watch list, confirming risk per trade, assessing market conditions, and mentally rehearsing entries and exits. These checklists prevented impulsive decisions and ensured that even after a long day at work, trading was guided by strategy rather than emotion. Students benefit from seeing trading as a structured process, where preparation and disciplined execution replace random reactions to price movements. Monitoring your own emotional state during trading sessions is another key component. I implemented a simple tracking system, noting feelings of frustration, fatigue, or anxiety, and correlating these with trade outcomes. Over time, patterns became clear. Fatigue after particularly stressful days correlated strongly with deviations from my plan. Students should adopt similar self-monitoring, as understanding the connection between mental state and trading performance is critical for long-term consistency. Automation can also play a role in efficiency. Using alerts, conditional orders, or predefined entry and exit rules allows traders to reduce manual monitoring and the risk of missing setups. Early in my journey, I manually monitored all instruments, which increased cognitive load and introduced errors. With automation aligned to strategy, attention can be focused on interpreting broader market context rather than micromanaging trades. Students should approach automation thoughtfully, ensuring it supports the strategy rather than creating over-reliance on technology. Finally, refining workflow should be a continuous process. I regularly reviewed my trading process, identifying inefficiencies or distractions that had crept in. This includes removing unnecessary tabs, reorganizing charts, updating watch lists, and adjusting session times based on ongoing experience with energy patterns. Students should adopt a mindset of iterative improvement. Even a well-structured routine will need tweaking as market conditions, job responsibilities, or personal energy levels change. By combining streamlined tools, reduced complexity, dedicated focus periods, pre-trade checklists, emotional monitoring, and thoughtful use of automation, traders can maximize the effectiveness of limited trading windows while minimizing the mental fatigue and distraction that undermines performance. For anyone trading while managing a full-time job, these practices create a framework where quality decisions replace impulsive reactions and consistent adherence to strategy becomes achievable. Monitoring performance and energy levels is critical when developing a trading routine that fits around a full-time job. In my own case, I noticed that even when following a structured schedule, the outcomes of trades fluctuated based on mental fatigue, stress from work, and personal commitments. Tracking energy levels allowed me to identify which parts of the day were most conducive to executing trades with clarity and precision. For example, pre-market sessions before heading to the office often offered a quiet environment and high mental sharpness, while evening sessions immediately after a long workday were prone to impulsive decisions and reduced focus. Students should maintain a detailed log of both trade outcomes and their own physical and mental state, linking performance metrics to energy patterns to refine trading windows. Gradual scaling of trading activity is another essential practice. Attempting to force a full trading schedule immediately after transitioning from a 9 to 5 can create burnout and emotional fatigue. I initially tried to trade every possible market move in the evenings, chasing setups and overextending myself, which led to inconsistent results. Over time, I implemented rules limiting the number of trades per session based on available energy, complexity of the setups, and probability of success. Students need to recognize that trading is not a quantity game. It is a quality game, and scaling should prioritize consistency and focus over sheer volume of trades. Refining the routine also requires flexibility and adaptability. Market conditions, work responsibilities, and personal life events are constantly changing. During particularly intense project periods at my day job, I adjusted my trading schedule, focusing only on high-probability setups and reducing exposure to more marginal opportunities. Conversely, during lighter work periods, I expanded trading windows and integrated additional analysis or practice trades. Students should adopt a dynamic approach, continuously evaluating whether current routines align with both market conditions and personal energy availability. This helps prevent emotional trading driven by frustration or the fear of missing out. Accountability mechanisms are essential for maintaining a disciplined trading routine. I utilized a combination of journaling, self-review, and participation in trading groups to track adherence to rules and evaluate performance objectively. Journals included trade rationale, emotions experienced before and after the trade, and adherence to predefined risk parameters. Peer feedback and discussion in trading communities provided external perspective, reducing cognitive blind spots and reinforcing accountability. Students should integrate similar structures to ensure routines do not deteriorate under the pressure of balancing a 9-to-5 workload with active trading. Risk management continues to be a cornerstone of routine optimization. I established strict guidelines for maximum daily risk exposure, both in terms of capital and number of trades. These limits were non-negotiable and became part of the daily routine. During periods of stress or fatigue, the rules helped prevent overtrading or deviation from strategy. Students must internalize that consistent risk management is not just a technical safeguard. It is a psychological tool that supports emotional stability and long-term profitability. Periodic review sessions are crucial for continuous improvement. Weekly and monthly reviews of trades, performance metrics, and energy patterns helped me identify recurring errors, such as trading impulsively after stressful workdays or failing to adhere to pre-market analysis routines. Adjustments were made based on both quantitative results and qualitative self-reflection, ensuring that the routine evolved with experience rather than remaining static. Students should create a structured review process that evaluates both outcomes and process adherence to foster adaptive learning. Finally, establishing sustainable boundaries between work, trading, and personal life is critical. I designated specific hours for trading and strictly avoided encroaching on family time or rest periods, understanding that exhaustion or stress from other domains would degrade trading performance. Boundaries also extended to digital and environmental management. Notifications unrelated to trading were minimized, workspace was organized for focus, and pre-trade preparation included both technical and mental readiness. Students should recognize that disciplined routines are not solely about time allocation. They are about creating an environment where focus, clarity, and emotional balance are consistently achievable. By integrating monitoring, scaling, flexibility, accountability, risk management, periodic review, and sustainable boundaries, traders working full-time jobs can build routines that foster consistency, improve decision-making, and gradually increase profitability. The emphasis is on creating a resilient framework rather than relying on bursts of motivation or reacting to market opportunities without preparation. Consistency, focus, and disciplined execution become the pillars upon which performance is built.